African Communist Party in Gauteng has also expressed concern about the deadly Johannesburg building fire. Joining us now, the Provincial Secretary, Jacob Mamabolo. Wearing a different hat altogether today, also being a part of the provincial leadership, but this time as a leader of the South African Communist Party. Calling it a tragic event. Tragic, yes, in the sense that it's a calamity of the highest proportion. Tragic, yes, in the sense that it's a devastating event. But as far as shocking is concerned, would you say it's shocking that this has happened?
Firstly, let me greet you and greet all the viewers. And on behalf of the South African Communist Party in the province, we convey our sincere condolences to the families that lost their loved ones. We also wish a speedy recovery to those who sustained injuries, but we also convey our message of solidarity to all the survivors. We want to also commend all government departments, spheres of government, all entities, non-governmental organizations, and all the critical stakeholders that are working together to bring relief and support. We believe that the challenges that faces not just the CBD of the city of Johannesburg, but also go far beyond the city itself into various parts of the province, talk to a much more deeper, severe, and in many respects, a very historic reality of the province. We know that what constitutes what we call Gauteng as the economic hub of the country and one of the leading economies in the continent has got to do with a history, particularly of gold mining and its good days that has given us, the economy of the province. So back to your question and directly, I would say that this is loss of life. Obviously, nobody was, and would have anticipated or planned or expected this to happen. So to that extent, it is really shocking that this has happened. And but we really believe that given the many problems and challenges that occur, we have seen with the gas explosion, the criminal activity, underground activities of mining, there are many social problems that are happening just across, the entire area. Yeah. And we believe perhaps a much more strategic, much more better, well-coordinated, all-inclusive conversation, initiative that can comprehensively deal with these challenges as over and above the highly appreciated emergency ad hoc, responses to save lives. But we believe the crisis clearly points out to a need to shift conversations, to shift our focus and elevate this to a much more bigger strategic approach involving many social and critical players.
How do you respond to those who would say, reading your statement, that surely the SACP has dimmed down its glory days of being the vanguard movement? Firstly, by not calling for political accountability because of this tragic mess.
You will see in our statement that we are very clear that there should be a proper investigation. And we are also saying that the investigation should be such that it helps us to fully understand and comprehend the various forces, some of them that might have actually benefited from, and making money just from the people who remain desperate for accommodation. There could be negligence from perhaps anyone in position of authority that could have done something about this. But as with respect to, so we believe that even for the families that are affected to find closure, it will be important to get to the facts and to the real bottom of this, so that only the truth and proper facts can help the families to be able to come to some bit of closure. With respect to your issue about the SACP still being the vanguard, we remain both theoretically, ideologically, and in practice the most relevant true vanguard party of the working class. If you read our statements and all SACP statements and the role that the SACP is playing in this country across the length and breadth of our country, in the city of Joburg, our district, our branches, it actually reaffirms beyond any shade of doubt that the vanguard party of the working class is playing a very important and decisive role in building our democracy, in transforming class relations, in making sure that we address the challenges that faces our country, corruption, and also just not only in the country, globally. We continue to be a very key player in the global revolutionary and communist movement. So I think at this point, as the SACP really would like to convey to the working class and to all the people that we are firmly behind and we are monitoring the situation. And we will also be engaging our alliance partners, even beyond the alliance, to make sure that we do not have repeated crises, series of crises, threatening life in the CBD and across the province. But we need to find a much more strategic approach, a better class analysis that appreciate where does this problem come from.
How does it happen under your watch that a building that used to house abused women, it was a shelter, it belonged to the city, it was given to the Department of Social Development, since 2019, it was taken over by illegal occupiers or collecting rent from the vulnerable? Firstly, the people it was supposed to have taken care of now don't have a shelter anymore to go and be safe. But secondly, there are poor people who have been taken advantage of. Their paying rent to over 140 would-be building hijackers that nobody knows who they are. How does that happen under your watch? How do you just keep quiet all this time and say nothing?
Well, let me say to the viewers that the South African Communist Party in the province has, over the years expressed concern about precisely the devastating legacy left by the big monopolies and big capitalists that have actually made a lot of money out of the mining activities, and of course the subsequent activities that have given us what now remains the CBD of the city of Joburg. They have left into Sandton, into Rosebank, into the eastern part of the city of Joburg, and the working class is left with this very, as I said, devastating legacy of the good old days of the gold rush. And I'm saying to you that this analysis has been helping us to engage. Yes, perhaps we might have not been able to deal with some of the specific issues, but we are saying, if you look at our statement, on two fronts, we need a proper, deeper investigation so that if there are any people that were making money, accumulating, enriching themselves from, making money from the working class and taking advantage of their need for accommodation, those people should be held accountable. And you can look also at the role that the SACP has played in this country in unearthing and going deep into digging what is now called corporate capture. So the issues of corruption, any accumulation, anyone making money out of this situation that has now led to tragic loss of life. But Mr.
Mamabolo, that is acting as if this is a new thing. Because you're saying let this event be investigated. This is not a new event. Hijack builders and people collecting money from the poor is a known thing in the city of Johannesburg, and it's been known for years, and that criminality has been allowed to thrive all these years. How come you've never called for that investigation? You're calling the investigation now after the fact.
Yes, you'll recall that I thought I clearly said that, my response to you is on two levels. And I was dealing just with the immediate situation that says, right on this issue, in line with how the SACP has been playing its part, let's get much more better answers and clarity through scientific processes like investigation on what has happened. So that's one point. The second point I've made is that as the SACP over the years, and I can give you examples of many problems that has happened in the CBD of the city of Joburg, working with our district in the city of Joburg and our branches, we have been on the ground raising these issues. But I also accept and concede that perhaps we may not have raised them at the level that could have prevented an incident like such as the one that is happening. But moving forward, and as you can clearly see from our statement, based on the work that we have been doing, based on the rich analysis that we have been doing, and exactly the class forces that we are giving to you that are at the center of the crisis and have created this situation, we believe that we need a much more broader, united front, bringing various forces to make sure that we can find a sustainable strategic solution to resolve this issue. We've been working in the CBD. Maybe you may not be aware of the work we've done, but the analysis we're giving you is not just something that we constructed out of this situation, but we've been analyzing the history, the patterns of the crisis, the challenges in the CBD and outside the CBD itself. And that's why we are now able to say, based on the work we've been doing, we believe piecemeal responses, ad hoc solutions, emergency responses are not the best way to deal with the problem. We need a much more strategic approach to deal with this issue so that we can prevent it not only in the city, but across the length and breadth of the province, particularly in those areas that were devastated by the legacy of gold mining, and its forces have made money, have left the country, have left the CBD. We are left with this situation, and that's why we believe we need a much more united front, bringing in various players, not only government, so that we can deal with this issue in a much more better way than respond to crisis. That is a product. Of an analysis of us being on the ground, of us being there. We have dealt with evictions in the city of Joburg, in Hillbrow. Some of our comrades were even arrested. We have been there in and around Newtown. We have worked with people that were facing difficult challenges right in Hillbrow. You can even go to the Hillbrow police station. You'll find that there are many of our comrades who have been victimized. So the analysis we're giving you to say, let's go beyond ad hoc solutions, let's go beyond emergency responses, is a rich and well-informed analysis and proposal for solution that's based precisely on the good work that we've been doing over the years. And we believe that it is now time for the working class and all the people to unite, to then say, how do we make sure that these things do not happen anymore? So we need government, we need civil society, we need even businesses, we need workers to then say, all of us, how do we deal with this devastating history of underground mining that has brought problems to the surface and even above ground? How do we deal with infrastructure that has suffered, that is not even adequate, like water infrastructure when there's fire? You will know that, and you might have seen that the capacity of the infrastructure to manage situations of fire, it's also not adequate. The routes for, if we were to, move people quick and fast out of the CBD, the infrastructure, the layout of the CBD of the city of Joburg is not adequate to deal with the current challenges that we have. All this is an analysis of many practical, theoretical, and ideological work that we have been doing to analyze the class forces at play in the CBD, in the province, and the bigger social crisis that we're sitting.
Mr. Mamabolo, I appreciate your time. Thanks so much for coming on. Provincial Secretary of the South African Communist Party there.